My name is Adrian Nanchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. Now, how is it you go about creating money from thin air? It's all about how resourceful you are. Keyword there, resourceful. Please remember that. Okay, because everything you know, imagine all your knowledge like a little marble. Each little bit of knowledge you know, a little bit of practical knowledge, is one marble, like a marble. And your mind is like a massive container, and like a jar, for example, a glass jar. And the more knowledge you've got in that jar, the better. Because what that means is that when an input from the world, image or an icon or a message or a comment or anything or a meme or whatever, enters that, ricochets off all these different particles, like a chain reaction or like a nuclear reaction, atoms are splitting. So this input is bouncing off a particle, and that particle is checking it compared to the input. Like these ideas, how compatible, how resourceful, how can we use these together? How can we combine them? And that either breaks off and creates new ideas, and that creates other avalanche of ideas and other compounding ideas and concepts, or it just bounces off and goes to something else, and then it tries again through trial and error. For example, about a year ago, when I was at a car park in Stafford, a town 20 miles north from here, I got out this car, and then next to me was another car that had a 4-leaf clover air freshener above the driver's overhead mirror. And instantly I saw that iconography, that image of the 4-leaf clover. It went into my head, and it bounced around off a certain knowledge particle I had got. And that certain knowledge particle created an explosion of ideas and concepts that were right under my nose, that I just did not think about, that were there in the first place. And then because it compounded, I reverse engineered that process, and I thought, hang on a minute, we can do the exact same principle and apply it for other ideas. And so right from looking at that 4-leaf clover, quite lucky actually, I got a series of ideas of things that I'm going to start creating in December 2017, using a virtual assistant, because I'm not doing it myself. Just create the steps, and they can do it, and they can create it, and then money will come to me gently, trickles, and well, let's go big and scale it out. Let's do hundreds and thousands of these things, and so it will grow and compound. So how cool is that? So you want to fill your mind with knowledge, with ideas, with concepts, with information. The old saying is true, that the more you learn, the more you earn. Because the more knowledge particles you've got in here, when something, even the most simplest thing, enters the brain, like you hear it, you see it, you smell it, whatever, you talk about something, it enters the brain and it bounces around, and it's like, whoa, I never had that idea before, that's a brilliant idea. But then also at the same time, what was stopping the driver of that same car from looking at the 4-leaf clover air freshener and coming up with the same ideas? In theory, nothing, apart from the knowledge, and arguably awareness as well, like the tools and the software and the websites and all the rest. He didn't know about them, but also at the same time, he didn't have that knowledge of these things. The knowledge or the tools, or the software, the website, or the account, or the process and all, or the principles and all that. And because he didn't have those things, the 4-leaf clover image just goes in one ear, or in one eye, out the other, so to speak. And people talk about the 4-leaf clover, in one ear, out the other. It just means nothing to them. Because the knowledge, the thing, the input enters the jar, like light enters the jar, but it doesn't bounce off anything. Maybe there's not enough knowledge particles. Maybe he has other ideas that I simply haven't yet conceived or got the idea for. Not to disparage him, but what's separating me from him is, in theory, I know all these things that he may or may not know. And because of that, I can create many ideas and things that he may never be able to create or may never have thought about. And that's how you create money from thin air. You are more resourceful with the tools available to you. These websites that I'm going to be using, the account is for free. They're available to everyone. Just type into the Google taskbar, press enter, you're there. Nothing complicated. Anyone can get a virtual assistant. Not too difficult. Create the steps by steps, what to do, how to create them, so it's very procedural, very duplicatable. Done. Nothing stopping you from doing the exact same thing as I'm doing. But then on the flip side, there's things you know that I may never come across. And on the flip side, there's things the driver may know, the original owner, that I and or you may never come across. But that's okay, because £10 is a £10 note. 100 quid is 100 quid. $100 is $100, but that's a different question. But you generate money from thin air by being more resourceful with the tools you have at your disposal. Some people can look at a situation and instantly see a way of generating £1,000 overnight, or look at a market stall and figure out ways to make more money and optimizing it and leveraging it, because they have different knowledge and different talents and different abilities that other people, the original owners, may not simply have. And that's what it's all about, resourcefulness. The more resourceful you are, the more money you can create from thin air. How powerful is that? So learn, be curious, that's very important, and grow and develop. And also, the question of the day to you is, how are you increasing your resourcefulness? How are you increasing your resourcefulness? Right now, I'm finishing off a book, Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, and I'm going to start investing into dividends and all that, into dividends in different companies in the States, REITs for example. And I've got a few of the books to read on capitalism and markets and the markets. A few here, Intelligent Investor, Progressive Capitalism, things like that, to know more about the world, what the hell's happening, so I can spot opportunities and trends, but also find one-of-a-kind companies and understand more about balance sheets. So therefore, I can recognise more opportunity, and the more I can recognise, the more I can create. But also, I'm planning in the future of writing fiction. I've got some books here to read and a few over there, quite a number here actually, and some interesting books down there to read on fiction, just to read these and get ideas and look how they structure the sentence and look how they talk and how they write and all these things. And also done some research as well onto this stuff and watched interviews and different concepts and different courses and all the rest, just to learn and prepare myself. Similarly, I'm taking what I know, like intellectual property wise, and combining it with my book writing knowledge, like non-fiction, and splitting them together and saying, okay, I'm going to write a book which is all about the stuff that I've learned, or the stuff that I've experienced, or my businesses, or things like that, a business memoir and life journey and lessons and principles, that kind of stuff. So I'm combining it in different ways. So, but I personally am much more long-term wise. Long-term. What I've coined actually is delayed compound gratification. So I'm interested in the long term rather than overnight. I'm not too good at flooding an area, but I'm good at creating a river, a consistent flow of money, not so much flooding an area of money like overnight, but create a river, a consistent flow, a consistent and reliable stream, and just widen that river and make it stronger and all the rest. Yeah, that's more me, but that's a different thing. But anyway, question of the day is, how are you increasing your resourcefulness? Comment below, very curious what the answers are and what you say. But remember also that this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. How cool is that?